It's time for another tackle football video breaking down LSU. Yes, the Tigers now 2-1 after a win against Mississippi State. First SEC game, first SEC home game. It's good to see Danny Etling get off to a good start. There's a lot of things we got to break down in this game. We're going to break down in particular one drive, but LSU, most importantly, they deserved the result. Dominated the box score. 22 first downs to 14 first downs. On third down, Mississippi State, 1 of 14, even though on fourth down, they were 3 of 4. 177 rushing yards to 56, 215 to 214 passing yards, 392 total yards to 270 total yards. And more importantly, where LSU lost in the first two games was a time of possession battle. Absolutely destroyed in the first game, 37 to 23 in that. Jacksonville State outpossessed LSU by 3 or 4 minutes in the last game. That doesn't always equate to victories, but when you run the football as much as LSU does, you expect them to win the time of possession battle. So, yeah, the Tigers deserve to win this game. No doubt about it. 23 to 21 the final score. Mississippi State really had to scramble and get those last touchdowns there at the end to make it close. But the one thing that you consistently see, and it's exactly what the narrative is about LSU right now, is that they are unfundamentally sound in so many different ways. And particularly in the second half, you started to show when Mississippi State started making some adjustments and they started making the plays necessary to win this football game. But actually, let's go to the tape. This was actually a drive, believe it or not. LSU made a comedy of errors on a drive that actually resulted in the second touchdown of the game. So you hear it all the time. LSU's not well coached. They're not well prepared. You know, that's a narrative. How about we actually look at the tape, though? Let's see if we actually see it for ourselves for LSU. Now, if you can, before we go any further, I need to introduce myself. If this is the first time, I'm Carter Bryant. Most people call me Carter the Power now. Follow me Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, and all that stuff. I host the Tiger Tackle Football Podcast with T. Bob A. Bear of WWL, former LSU offensive lineman. I do a weekly spot on WWL as well. So lots of fun. Download it on iTunes, Stitcher, and all that good stuff. But the reason why you're here is for some tackle football breakdown. So let's get right into it. As you can tell here, we have a 1st and 10. Thanks again to a viewer. They actually sent me this laser pointer to make this a little more efficient. So we're going to run through some of these plays. This is 1st and 10 after a big gain plus a penalty for LSU. And let's see how this play develops. This is actually one of LSU's best plays. It's called power, where all it is a direct pitch back. This time, though, normally LSU just runs a power play like a traditional running play. They actually end up pulling the guard on this play. And let's see how it turns out. First down. Mute the TV. I love Mike Patrick, by the way, but let's just mute it for this case. All right. So here we go. You're pulling the guard here. Let's go and rewind it. I did a horrible job there. So the key here is to block your man. All right. Now, the one thing I consistently see when seeing LSU on film is that they are not a really fundamentally sound blocking football team. And here's a good example of it. Will Clapp, before I go any further, got injured earlier on this drive. So Will is playing with a lot of injuries. LSU played 8 different offensive linemen, really getting hit by the injury bug early. But it's really no excuse in the end. You got to step up and make plays. And here we are, 1st and 10. This is a well-designed running play. Tight end goes into motion, becomes a fullback, and you're going to see the left guard pull on a traditional power play. And what makes this play interesting, just a little tidbit here, is the quarterback actually rotates out and seals off this backside end. So we're going to roll it. We're going to watch it at full speed first. All right. Boom, boom. And it's only a gain of 2 yards. 2 or 3, whatever. It actually should have been more. Let's roll it back. So now that you've seen it in full speed, now watch, man goes in motion, boom. Will Clapp from left guard rotates here, and his job is to kick out this outside backer here, coming to hit the edge. Now, there's two players I want to focus in on here. Let's bring it back just a little bit before the snap action begins. There are two players that end up missing their block. Will Clapp, the left guard, and your slot receiver right here. Who's 86 again? His name slips right. Is that Jazz Ferguson? I think so. And let's roll the tape here. Boom. All right. So here's where the play breaks down. You get exactly what you want. Look at the surge LSU is getting to the right side here. You zone block down, pull your left guard out. There's two blocks that need to be made on this play. Will Clapp does a great job here because all you want to do is make sure this man doesn't blow up this B gap right here. You want to make sure he goes outside of you. All right? But the problem with Will Clapp, and you'll see this again in just a moment, was that he took too tight of a step and he let this man beat him to the punch on the outside. Watch. You'll see it right here. Clapp has a nice tight step here to keep the man on the outside. It was just too tight. And it's important not to make that too tight because Fournette, as you can tell, takes the ball a little bit deeper. If Fournette is right here pre-snap, like more running backs would be, it wouldn't be as easy of a run for a guy to go on the outside of Will Clapp here. Still, Will Clapp a little slow on the block, reaching, 44 beats him to the punch. Now this is how special Leonard Fournette is. Watch how easy he gets off this man. Boom. Alright, now let's roll it back. If Clapp makes a cleaner block, look at all this room Fournette has to run. But remember, we keyed in on the slot receiver here for LSU. And look at this. Look at this horrendous blocking form. We're even going to zoom in on this a little bit. Look at that. Head down. Not exactly Hines Ward here, even though they were the same number. Look at that. Can't have that. Head down, taking in a block, and guess what? If that block is made, look at all this clean room. You don't even have to have that great of a block here. If you just seal your man to the outside, it's not that hard of a block for a slot receiver. Just a horrible missed block, sloppy blocking from Clapp and from Ferguson here. And guess who ends up making the play? Boom. If Ferguson even makes a decent block, guess what? You have Fournette one-on-one on a safety right there. So instead of 7 or 8 or possibly a broken tackle for a touchdown, you have that. There you go. Look at that. All right. Got a few more plays to get to here. Now let's keep this thing moving here. Now something interesting here. Fournette actually got stepped over on this play. Kind of fired him up. And I like it because he actually does a great job running. Now here's another example of some sloppy LSU blocking. And it's again Will Clapp. And once again he oversteps the same exact guy. Alright? Now look what LSU does. They move the tight end to the right side. So this is the strong side of the formation. What LSU ends up doing though is running a play right up the gut, which gives Fournette the option of going to either A gap. Alright? Boom. Now look, the two players to key in on right here. Ethan Posick, Will Clapp. Once again, Will Clapp's job, make sure the man doesn't get to the inside of you. Keep this man on the outside. Alright? We roll and watch that. Once again, over pursuit by Clapp. Same guy, 44, comes in here and blows up this play. Even then, look at Ethan Posick. No push. This nose tackle is whipping him right now. And look, there's just no room for J.D. Moore to do what he does best, which is get through and get a seal on this backer. And here's the key. Once again, another missed gain. And this is a touchdown if these two players execute their block. Now watch what happens here. Because the strong side was on this side, the safety just attacked the line of scrimmage. So all you have to do on this play is break this initial surge, and Leonard Fournette is walking into the end zone. Alrighty. Clapp misses his block, whipped on the outside. Ethan Posick should have turned his guy on the outside. He's not able to do so. Once again, Posick's job is to seal this man on the outside. It lets him get back in, and only a gain of 2 yards. Sets up 3rd and 4 here for LSU. And guess what? LSU, due to some confusion, forced to call a timeout. Now, I'm a believer in when you take a timeout to fool the defense, to come back out in a completely different formation, particularly if you're throwing the football. Alright? Once again, I'm sorry I'm dark. You can hardly even see this face of mine, which is probably a good thing. So now, we're back. LSU is back from the timeout, and they come out in a completely different formation. Check this out. The man who caught the touchdown is in clear man-to-man coverage right here. Yeah, DJ Chark gave LSU the 7-0 lead early. So the key is to throw him the football, and Cam Cameron actually calls a really good play here. We run the tape, roll out to the right side. Once again, LSU, not a really fundamentally sound team, drop an easy play. And look at how well designed this play is. On 3rd and 4, you know you're having man coverage. These are two beautiful routes by Foster Moreau and DJ Chark, both to the outside against man coverage off inside leverage. And looky here. And what's crazy is the sure throw for the first down would have actually been to Morrow. That is a wide open throw, but Etling knew he had man-to-man coverage against DJ Chark, who's a very talented receiver. And look at this. Oh, look at this drop. Jump ball. Oh, that is key. This is a key drop, and this is a clear turning point in this football game. What I'm about to show you has not been seen by anybody. And once again, sorry for the lack of lighting here, but it makes this look a lot better. Now, you get the drop here, and it sets up a clear field goal. Alright. Get to the field goal here. For Colby Delahousse. Snap is good. Holds good. Kick is kind of wobbly but good. But notice, you'll see there was a flag on the play for roughing the kicker. Now, it was a good acting job here by Colby Delahousse, as you could tell. Watch. It's a stupid thing to hit him, but here's where LSU really lost it. Was on this play, instead of it being a roughing the kicker in a 1st and 10, or at worst, a 10-0 lead, this kick actually should have been blocked and returned for a touchdown. Let's roll the tape. Once again, all 3 of the plays we've seen on this drive for LSU. Missed drop, 2 missed blocking assignments. Actually, a lot of missed blocking assignments. Really sloppy technique from receivers and offensive line. And now you see a basic field goal block. Now, I'm based in Arkansas, doing an Arkansas Razorback-based radio show. Arkansas fans are very familiar with this situation. Field goal of similar distance against Mississippi State, which was blocked because a player shot right through an inside gap. Now let's roll this thing slowly. And once again, remember LSU onside kick they gave up earlier. Or, later in the game, which allowed Mississippi State to stay in the ball game. Now notice here, the snap is absolutely perfect. And the steps across here, the technique is great. But watch what happens here. Number 63, KJ Malone, one of your most trustworthy blockers, a starter, gets whipped to the inside. Alrighty? And the player is allowed to go straight through clean. And instead of blocking this kick, and it's always worse when a player comes up the middle. It's a better angle to block a kick. And then whenever you do block it, it normally goes straight back, which is easy for a return TD. And look what happens. He takes a bad angle to the football. And notice how close this football is to his arm. That right there is the difference in this first half. You block this kick, you steal the momentum. LSU gives up points, gives up the football in a good position. Instead, you miss the block, then you hit the kicker, and it's a penalty. Why are we in this situation? Oh, because on first down of the last drive, Jazz Ferguson whiffed on a block on an easy counter pitch to the left. Then on second down, what should have been a touchdown, Will Clapp and Ethan Posick don't execute their blocks. They were tough blocks, but they don't execute it. Then on third down, the worst of them all, DJ Chark drops an easy pass. The drive actually ended with LSU. A lot of interesting things happen on LSU's eventual touchdown. They try this trick play right then and there. It just wasn't there. Danny Etling cut his route off. He probably should have kept running. Malachi Dupree actually threw a perfect ball. The only problem is he stopped running, and part of it was because there was this guy coming. So Danny Etling didn't want to take that hit. Can't really blame him. Alright, so let's pick things up here on 2nd and 10. LSU, notice what they do here. They get into this too tight, two-back formation that I know you LSU fans just absolutely love. But it's one of Les Miles' favorite formations. And they run a pretty nice play here to the right side. Even though now, what we will do is count the number of Mississippi State players here in the box. Alright? Got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 players in the box with safety helping this receiver or to come down and help in the run. Zone play to the right side. Look at this. Now remember earlier we were telling you about how Ethan Posick needed to turn his guy to the inside, turn this nose tackle to the inside. He does a great job of that here. And look at the hole here created. Look at the double team from Tuema and Boot. Boom. Good hole. Will Clapp does just enough to hold this blocker off from coming to the backside. It's now up to Fournette to make this guy miss or just run through for a couple extra yards. He does just that. Nice fill and tackle there. And Fournette's wondering where's the penalty. They were very nasty with them despite him running them over all night. And he did just do a lot of that. It was a great play though. I guess if I tackled Leonard Fournette like that, I would have a similar reaction. Now the most interesting play of the entire night that I watched on tape was this one. This is critical, alright? Let's go ahead and rewind it just a little bit and just describe the scene here. It is 3rd down and 2, and knowing Les Miles and how he feels about his defense and his conservative nature, I know he goes for it a lot on 4th down. Alright, if it's 4th and 1, Les is known for going for it on 4th and 1, but if it's 4th and 2, it's a little bit different. You kick, you take the 2-possession lead. Remember, they just took points off the board because they were able to extend the drive with the penalty. We'll never know exactly what he would have done here on 4th down. It is just the first quarter. My guess would be he would take points. Still, as many of you know, and you can ask Ole Miss this yesterday, touchdowns win games. Field goals, yeah, they can win them. But touchdowns is what separates the good teams from the okay teams. So, what LSU is going to end up doing is running the exact same play they just ran to the right side, but this time they're going to run it to the left. Now, before I go any further, and I say this during every tape study, I don't have the exact call. I don't know exactly who was supposed to do what, or how the play was supposed to go out, or if you're supposed to read an audible out. I'm not in practice, so I'm giving you my best guess. All right? I'm not acting like I know for certain who's supposed to do what. But this play here is very fascinating. Watch. So, what you see here, remember we counted, what was it, about 8 men in the box, the last play. Now, let's count how many players are in the box for this one. Actually, it was 9 on the last play. Watch. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 players in the box. So this is typical Les Miles football. I don't care who you put out there. We're going to out-physical you and pound that sucker on in. There you go. 10 players. So theoretically, with the quarterback being the quarterback and the running back being the running back, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 players to block 10 of these guys who, as you can tell, are all keying a Leonard Fournette run. I don't know why you would think otherwise. And that's exactly how they play it. So notice, as we watch this play go on, I always like to do this, watch the play in full speed before we come back to this point. You see a bunch of calls being made here by the offensive line. Run to the left side. Watch the effort here from Leonard Fournette. Boom! Carry the guy in the end zone, touchdown. That's huge. But what's amazing is when you really slow this play down, you really begin to see how special Leonard Fournette is. This is more than just carrying a guy into the end zone. This is called smart running and reading your blocks. Once again, we see here LSU's offensive line making the calls. And look right here. You see a run to the left side was eventually called here. This gives away. Now, some coaches teach their linebackers this. Whichever way the center looks at last to make a call is normally where they're going to run the football. So, look what we have here. Talking to Will Clapp. And what they're doing is they're identifying who they're supposed to block, who the Mike linebacker is supposed to be. All right, remember it was a zone right the play before. It's a zone left this time. So now we're just going to roll it in extreme slow motion here. Fast forward just a little bit. Ethan Posick makes a call. Watch. A lot of things happen as we have this going on. Boom. All right, so zone to the left, we clearly see that. And the design of this play is to run through this B gap right here. Now, the most difficult block on this play is by Ethan Posick. Now remember, the play before he did a good job sealing the defensive lineman he was supposed to block this way. But because this is a run this way, you want to seal this man this way. Now what makes that tough is that this defensive tackle is on the outside shoulder of Will Clapp. So, what does that mean? Will Clapp has to kind of help Posick, but Posick has to get all the way around this defensive line, this nose right here, and flush him this way to open up this B gap. Now watch how it happens. Boom. Look at this step. The lineman tried to do a swim move right from the get-go. And watch him do a thing of beauty here and flush his man to the left side. You want your butt to be to the hole, and look at this. Even with 10 men, this is actually a good start to how this play was supposed to go. Now watch. Ethan Posick seals this man to the inside here. Will Clapp is heading for this linebacker, but notice this play is actually dead from the start. And you're trusting Leonard Fournette and J.D. Moore to make a play because look, because there's 10 men on 8, you have 2 backers in this hole. So what was a good job blocking by the LSU offensive line, this actually isn't all that great of a play call. You're just trusting Leonard Fournette to make a play, which he does. Now watch here. Let's roll it back just a little bit. An interesting player follows Moreau here, 84, the tight end. Now watch what eventually happens to him too on this play. Boom. And look at this. His job is to seal this man to the inside. 16's job is to tighten this hole as tight as he possibly can, which he does a great job of doing. Now watch. You got a double team coming for this guy, but look at this. Mississippi State was reading run. This should be an easy stop. They have 2 linebackers to come in here and fill this gap. And then Moreau actually ends up getting flushed in to tighten in this B gap. Now watch how tight this hole gets. There's nowhere to go. Nowhere. These linebackers do a good job having a late fill here. You have your double team in this, but this play should be stopped. But this is key. Moore does a great job of getting his helmet on the outside shoulder and flushing this backer on in, essentially blocking both of these guys. We're going to run it in really slow motion here. And I'm actually going to want to tighten this up just a little bit, just to show you how tight this hole actually was. You see right here, let's just move the camera a little bit this way. Now look at where we are now. Moreau gets blown by a one-arm squeeze all the way into the B gap. There is nowhere to run this football through the B gap until J.D. Moore puts out a piece of technical beauty. Watch this, and you can see it. It's really tough to see, but this is J.D. Moore's helmet going on the outside shoulder of the backer, which opens up just the tiny sliverest hole you will ever see. And look at how much power and pace Leonard Fournette goes through this shrunken gap. He squeezes, and look at Moore flushing this backer who had a step on him to the inside. And look, and you can see Fournette's legs here actually get a little tangled. And look, he finds a way through. And boom. And notice where he's hit. His momentum slows down just a tad. Notice his foot almost gets clipped by J.D. Moore, well actually Moreau right here, who got blown back into the play. And look at where Fournette is stopped at a standstill. But look at here. Will Clapp atones for his earlier error and blows his man and stays with this block. And that makes Fournette only have to carry one guy into the end zone. And Fournette carrying anybody into the end zone, he'll take that any day of the week. Beautiful job of blocking here. It was not a great play call. You're trusting your players to step up and make a play, and Leonard Fournette did there. Yeah, he had some fumbles, but that's why Leonard Fournette is one of the best players LSU has ever had. Thank you so much. Download the Tiger Tackle Football Podcast. I'm Carter the Power. We'll talk to you next time.